Okay, good day class. So, additional info pa, this is the second book, Quantity Surveying. So, if we look into your record dito, day 7, natapos na supposed to be ninyo itong book na to about Quantity Surveying CE. Tapos, di ba, I asked you to at least be able to start working on your structural drawing. So, bali today, we will discuss about the next book, which is Quantity Surveying. Pa rin ang title, pero medyo may iba siyang scope. So, we have already considered na, or you are aware na what is a quantity surveyor. So, he must be able to describe clearly in proper unambiguous language the requirement of the architect and or civil engineer, and so arrange his bill of materials or bill of quantities that the builder can quickly and easily and accurately arrive at the estimated cost of the project. Okay, so bali sinimulan nyo na yesterday. I hope you did that to study the drawings kasi yun yung i-estimate nyo later. So, when working on your drawings, you have to look on the drawings and attempt to visualize the work entitled. So, study them and are in agreement with one another. You check on the drawings, the elevations, which are actually given na ngayon dun sa attached drawing kahapon pa. Okay? So, actually, we will end up with a bill of quantity of the materials. So, when we say BOQ, it refers to bill of quantities, wherein ang nakalista yung mga quantities ng mga materials to be used. So, when one wants to buy a table, actually, he asks the cabinet maker as to what it would cost. Diba? Now, katabi na nun, you want to know the detailed specification of the table. Its size, its length, diba? The breadth, the height, the timber, and the finish required. Painted ba or may varnish? Now, once the specification is known, the cabinet maker will give the value of the table by working out the cost of materials and labor required. Now, in addition to that, syempre, imposibleng wala siyang profit at saka meron din siyang overhead. Overhead may probably be for the equipment he uses, fuel kung kailangan niya, electrical consumption, water consumption if needed to finish the work. Now, similarly, the prospective building owner wants to know before placing the order that what the cost of his building would be. So, ganun yung concern natin. So, in order to work out the ease of the building, a detailed quantity should be prepared for the client. Now, the standard method of measurement and price of the builder should be given. The quantities will be collected together into a bill. So, after you have determined kasi yung mga quantities, syempre, ang kasunod na nun, yung mga pricing. Now, for our subject, we will be focused on the quantities and how will you determine the bali measurement of your structural members and the materials to be used. Now, the bill of quantity, advantage of that is it forms a quantity forms a common basis for competitive tendering. When we say tendering, ito yung naririnig natin na bidding. Wherein, syempre, paglalabanan if you will be the contractor for a certain structure. Now, it forms in itself a basis of rates for measured work which can be used in the contract for valuation of variation and final account. Now, it is also used in building operations after the completion of other payments or interim payments. Now, the following points are essential in the production of a good build quantity. So, ito, kailangan ganito. Now, a good knowledge of the building construction. So, mas madaling ika nga, at least you know how to construct actually the building. Yung method use, di ba? Para maging katapat niya yung mga labor cost niya at saka yung equipment that you will be needing. Accuracy and neatness in measuring and setting out. So, dyan papasok na kailangan. Alam mo talaga yung magagamit na materials based on the commercially available materials. Now, of course, a thorough knowledge of writing description in concise and clear language. Tayo kasi, ang ginagamit natin is the drawing itself. Yun ang ating language. So, hindi tayo basta mag-i-English dyan. Pero basta meron tayong drawings, nagkakaintindihan tayo dapat para makagawa tayo ng ending na bill of quantities. Now, what is a specification? So, it is the description of a special description or a particular subject. Now, in engineering specification, it contains the detailed description of all workmanship and materials which are required to complete an engineering project. So, nandun lahat, naka-specify yung gagamitin mong concrete. So, and it was mentioned na dun sa isang pinagawa ko sa inyong activity wherein naka-specify dun kung ano, for example, yung concrete, anong class na gagamitin mo. Class A ba, Class B, Class C. Siyempre, pag iba yung specification, mas matapang yung timpla ng concrete mo, mas magastos lalabas. Pero, syempre, it will always depend on the use of the concrete. Now, this data regarding the materials and workmanship is conveyed in a separate contract document. So, you have, of course, we will be preparing, yung engineer will actually prepare the actual drawings and then kailangan may nakadikit na specification for the work. Now, thus the drawing with the specifications will completely define the structure. So, hindi mo lang basta din drawing mo, pero dapat naka-specify how will you work on the project. Now, that's why we say na ang necessity natin of the specifications are as follows. The cost of unit quantity of work, specification of the work to describe the quality and quantity of the materials to be used, which is required for the construction. Now, thus, a contractor can make a program to procure materials required for the project. For example, consider mo na lang yung doors and windows. Meron tayong doors that are made of pure wood. Merong may glass, di ba? Meron naman tayong windows na it may be made of wood, of glass, of aluminum, of PVC pa nga, di ba? So, it will always change in cost depending on the specification of your materials to be used. This also specifies the workmanship and method of doing the work. For example, gagamitin mo yung magko-concreting ka. How will you do the concreting work? So, You may do it manually, hahaluin lang ng mga laborers. You may use a one-bagger mixer, or you may simply order a ready mix concrete. So, lahat yon mag-change ng price dahil iba-iba yon. Now, the work is carried according to its specification and the contractor is paid the same. So, pag-uusapan talaga yon. Ano ba requirement dun sa gagawing trabaho? Now, as the rate of work is based on specification, a contractor can calculate the rates of the various items of work in a tender, in a bid, or in a completed computation with his procurement rates and materials and labor. So, ano yan eh, depende pa rin yung labor mo. Pwedeng mas mataas sa'yo kasi may specialization ka. Now, specification is necessary to specify also the equipment, the tools, and plans to be engaged for a work, and thus enables to procure them beforehand. Now, the necessity of specification is to verify and check the strength of materials for a work involved in a project. For example, yung bakal, may iba-ibang strength ang bakal. Pero what will you use? Yung high strength ba? Yung medium strength? O yung ordinary? So, definitely, iba-iba magiging presyo nun. Now, the main items of works in a building are the following. So, actually, you have earthworks, yung pag-excavate ng earth so that you can install there your footings. Now, concrete in foundation. Now, sa foundation, this refers to your footing na. And it is specified na dun sa plans na shinare ko sa inyo. Now, it consists of your concrete or lean wick cement concrete with the proportion depende sa ibibigay. Okay? Now, we have brick flat soiling when the soil if the soil is bad, one layer of dry brick or stone soiling is applied below the foundation. Sometimes meron pa nga yung sinasabi, naglalagay ka ng piles, yung pilote, yung parang poste, inilulubog mo pa sa soil so that you make the soil stable. Meron pa ngayon, another consideration pa ron, is yung soil nag-i-inject ng cement mixture para lahat ng voids niya o yung hollow parts niya mapuno ng concrete or cement. With that, papataas mo yung strength nung iyong soil. Okay? Then we have the damp-proof course. Usually 2.5 cm thick rich cement concrete with the following. So, depende nga sa magiging requirement. Now, masonry, when we say masonry, ito yung hollow blocks. Okay? So nagsimula na kayo sa concrete mixture, isusunod natin dyan yung concrete hollow blocks. Or, mali pala. Concrete hollow blocks, tama. CHB kung tawagin natin. Now, foundation and plinth masonry is taken under one item. Masonry in superstructure is taken as under a separate item. For buildings, masonry in each story is tabulated separately. Then, of course, when you work on your walls, aalisin mo yung openings ng doors and windows. Okay? Now, we also have the arc masonry. In arcs is calculated in cubic units separately by multiplying the mean length of the arc by the thickness. So that's why it's very important that you know the structure itself, yung shape niya, yung thickness niya, and the overall dimensions should be specified and should be seen in the plans. Lintels over openings, length of lintel. When we say lintel, ito yung nilalagay na additional na para siyang small beam which is placed on top of the windows and the doors para hindi mag-crush yung wall mo kapag meron ka ng opening ng windows. Okay, then we have the quantities in roof or floor slab. So with that, kailangan mo ng beams, ng lintels, ng columns, foundation, etc. Now, the reinforcement, including the bending of your bars, is taken up separately under steelworks. For this purpose, there is a 0.6% to 1% of RCC by volume may be taken for steel. So, kung meron kang concrete na volume, pwedeng magbawas ka ng 0.6% to 1%. Now, however, sa practice, sa actual construction, mako-consider yan. Pero during the preparation of BOQ, usually hindi na sinasali to. Kasi may katapat rin naman na waste na nangyayari sa RCC natin. Reinforced concrete cement. Yun yung RCC. And then, for flooring and roof, the ground floor consists of a base lime concrete, flooring finishing, and CC. Merong pwedeng may stone siya, marble, mosaic, yun yung mga tiles, etc. Then, for your first and second floor, there are supporting structures which are separate. So, lilitaw sa mga plans yun. Now, yung CHB natin, yung walls natin, usually kailangan ng plastering para makinis yung ating CHB or your hollow blocks. Now, there are sometimes yung small openings natin may take up approximately 0.5 square meter, there will be no deduction made. But if it exceeds, there may be deduction made for one face only, and the other face is allowed for jam, soffits, and seals, which are not taken into account separately. For openings which are 3 square meters, deduction is made on both faces of the opening. Okay, so as we go along with the actual construction, at saka pag nagpa-practice ka na, malilitaw yung mga need mo for that. Okay, so for doors and windows, we actually have the frame, we have the door and window shutters, pansara niya, and then ironworks, which are usually computed in kilograms. Quintal hindi na masyadong ginagamit. Kilogram pag bibili ka, pero sometimes we do it by counting method. Kung ilang baka lang i-order mo with a certain diameter. Whitewashing or color washing and distempering, the quantities are computed in square units and are usually same as for plastering. The inside is usually whitewash and the outside is color wash. The number of coats should be mentioned in the item. Now, for painting, so di ba mag-e-ending ka to make your structure nice naman, you may place painting or varnishing specifically for doors and windows, which are usually computed in square meters. And to be sure na maganda yung painting mo, it is done in 2 to 3 coats aside from the preparation. So you don't simply apply the paint immediately. So meron tayong mga particular items that will not be estimated dito sa subject na to, like for the example, the painting, we will focus on the others. Yung mga painting that will be for your next subject, construction, methods, and management. Diba? Yung susunod na trimester ninyo. Now, the rates or different items in the estimate are current rates for the completion of the items. So, ano included din? Yung materials natin, syempre depende ngayon sa presyo niya. Kailan ba tumataas, bumababa? So, usually, dinidikit na yung yung kapag ikaw nag-e-estimate, you may consider yung panahon ngayon. Kung masyadong maulan, ang possibility, syempre, nakaka-delay ng trabaho yun. Pero kung maaraw naman, di okay lang. The materials alone, nagche-change yan. Depende sa month. Okay? So, kadalasan, tataas, bababa, ganon. Okay? Now, what is analysis of rate? So, yung rate mo is that you are to serve detailed survey of the materials, the labor, and equipment. So, depending on the prevailing rates for a particular period during the year. Now, what is the purpose of your rate analysis? So, siguro alam naman natin na pag nasa city ka, mas mataas ang rate ng labor compared to rural areas. Now, the price of an item of work is made up of the following: the materials, the labor, the equipment you will need together with the tools and plants. Cost of yung plants hindi yan yung hindi halaman yan. Yung area kung saan ka mag-work. Okay? Or pwedeng sabihin natin yung area you will rent so that you will install or house yung mga materials mo. Like for example, yung gumagawa ng mga roads, kailangan nila ng isang plant, kailangan ng isang area. Instead of starting from their warehouse, hahanap na sila na isang area wherein doon na nila ilalagay yung volume of gravel, sand, and then your cement. Doon na rin sila maghahalo ng concrete. Parang ganon. So that malapit na dun sa area to be constructed. Now, cost of overheads or establishment charges, including incidental charges. Kumbaga, as mentioned, when may electrical ka, may rental ka, may water consumption ka, may security guard ka, etc. etc. And of course, hindi ka naman siguro magko-construct without the profit. Importante of course yan. Now, what will affect our rate analysis? The specification. So, yung mga yan. Okay? Now, for example, ito yung reinforcement estimation of your RCC slab. Reinforced concrete slab. Reinforced concrete cement slab. Okay, so meron tayong plain, meron tayong deformed. Ayan ang deformed. May mga korte siya. Is the typical. Now, meron siyang particular diameter. Okay? Medyo nasa inches to. Our diameter, kung i-millimeter mo, you have 10 millimeters, 12 millimeters, 16, 20, 25, 28, 32, 36, 44, 45, 55, and so on. Okay? So, commercially available, kino-consider pa rin nila yung mga diameter na yan. Itong 3/8 is approximately, yan yung sinasabi nating 10 that is 12 millimeters. This is in inches pala to. So, 3/8, mga 10, 12, 16, and so on. Okay? Now, paano ba nagko-construct ng concrete? So, ito, may ganyan yan. Ito yung mga bakal mo. Okay? Yan yung mga bakal mo. So, yung mga bakal mong yan, kailangan meron siyang concrete sa bottom. So, pag ini-install niya, kailangan meron kang spacer dito. May nilalagay ka sa ilalim to make sure na nakaangat yung bakal mo. So, we have the total depth and of course, your clear covering. And then, the effective depth will be from the top hanggang dito lang sa ilalim niya. Now, reinforcement covering is of course necessary to protect it from weather, yung bakal mo, so that there will be no corrosion. Protect it from fire kasi lalambot yun. Now, there is a need for adequate adhesion. Kailangan walang langis yung steel mo para kumapit siya sa concrete. And the need to create cable or pipe channels without harming the reinforcement. Now, so these are the required covering. 1.5 inch bali, that is approximately 30 or 40 mm. Yung 2.5 is approximately 60 mm. So, hindi masyadong sakto-sakto, pero pag kinonvert mo to, this is 40, this is 60. Now, what happens naman sa mga hooks? So, usually you consider rin na magkakaroon ka ng bends or hook. Diba? So, kumbaga, pag ikakapit mo yung bakal mo, you will end up with a hook here. Sometimes, nakapaganyan pa yan. Nakapaganon. And you are required the following dimensions. 12 times the diameter of the bar. Yung pinaka-pasobra. Then, this is an example of your bakal. So, meron tayong straight, merong crank, yung nakataas. Tapos, meron tayong extra top. Okay, so as you can see, you have the straight bars. So, may straight, may nakakrank. So, depende sa design yan. O, paano mga i-estimate yan? So, yun. Kailangan alam mo kung paano ginagawa yan. Itong nasa ilalim, yan yung sinasabi kong spacer. Just to hold on your bars para meron kang space sa ilalim for concrete. Now, the typical slab reinforcement pattern, so straight and crank. So, yun na nga yung ibig ko sabihin. Nakita nyo na actually. So, kapag nagko-consider ka nun, may specific legend kung ano yung magiging dimensions nung bars mo, ilan doon na naka-straight, ilan ang extra. So, kung titingnan mo, meron tayong extra bars. So, ayan o, naglalagay ka ng extra bar. Anong silbi nito isang bar na to? Diba? Kung may splicing man siya, kailangan malaki-laki yung magiging splices, yung dugtungan natin. Okay? So, this may also serve as additional strength for your concrete slab. Okay. So, this is a typical, top view of your drawing to show na yung iba nakakrank, tapos ito, extra top bars, may additional bars ka, and then you have your straight bars. Okay, so depende sa design. Hindi palaging pa ganyan. Okay, so yan na example ng crank. Now, usually we consider this to be, considering the total length, yung distance from ditong top na to, is L over 5. Yung dito sa baba is L over 4. And it should be cranked upward 45 degrees. Okay, so by computation, ayan, makukompute naman yan by using trigonometry. Okay, another example of your bars showing the spacing between bars. Okay, so we have here, example din. Oh, ito na ngayon yung mm. So you have here number 3, 10. This is US kasi. Sa atin kasi you use 12. This is 16, 18, 22, 25, 30, 32, 36, 44, 55. So, ganon. Okay? And then this is the kilogram weight per meter. Okay? So, you should take note that. So, yung lecture natin, actually, magagamit mo na as guide when ordering your bakal in the future. So, this is an example of a concrete slab. So, you have there yung shaded are the beams. And then, it shows lang kung ano yung extra bar, ano yung naka-crank, ano yung straight. Okay? So, specific, spacing is mentioned din dyan. So, kung titingnan mo, gumanyan yung bakal natin, nag-bend, tumaas. So, may reason yan. So, designing, malalaman mo kung bakit ginaganyan pa yung mga bakal na yan. So, hindi lang puro straight. Okay? Then, if your bars go along this long direction, syempre may bakal din siya na pa ganito. Along the short direction. Okay? Then, syempre, kailangan alam mo yung thickness, alam mo yung mga specification ng mga bakal na nilalagay. Then, yung covering mo. Okay. So, actually, when you do the computation, kailangan meron kayong nakatabulate para mas maliwanag yung gagawin mo. At saka mas systematic, wala kang makakalimutan. So, you can do your computation using this, pero not strictly ganyan, pero this will guide you na ito, you are given the designation, the number needed, the length of each bar to be installed, and then you are given the total length. So, para maayos yung iyong magiging computation, wala kang mamimiss out. So, along the long direction, and then along the short direction. The good thing is that if you are given your plans, yung mga drawings nyo, all you have to do is to measure it using your AutoCAD, di ba? So, actually, no computation na kung magta-trigo ka, kung naka-crank siya, magpo-45 degrees ka, all you have to do is measure na lang measure using AutoCAD. Okay? Then, ito, example pa. Kung paano yung pag na-determine na niya yung total length, what will be the weight per length, and the total weight in pounds. Sa malakihan kasing orderan, you do the weight method. So, orderin mong ganyan, and then you say na ang gagamitin mo is 10 mm bars, and the total weight needed will be 2498. So, lilitaw na yon yung number of bars na 10 mm. Ang bars natin, commercially available, 6 meters lagi ang length. Okay? So, kung makakakuha ka ng length na 120, i-divide mo yung 6. 120 divide by 6 is 20 bars. So, yun ang o-orderin mo, 20 bars. Okay, so actually, meron na kayo niyan. Nandun sa shinare ko sa inyo. Okay? So, unit weight rin. So, this is supposed to be an assignment, pero hindi na. You may look into this for guide. Pero ano na tayo yan, meron na kayo niyang pagdating lang sa mga concrete. Naka-shortcut na dahil binigyan ko kayo ng table. Okay? Now, for example, you are given here yung footing mo. So, kailangan ma-imagine mo, paano ba ginagawa yung footing na yan? Para alam mo. Pag kinonsider mo yan, paano ko-construct yan? Diba? So, syempre, magsisimula ka sa footing, bubuhusan mo yung footing, pero yung bakal niya at yung bakal ng pinaka-column mo, naka-embed na rito sa footing mo. And then you have to determine yung height involved. So, kung titignan mo, it's more actually yung quantity, determination. Laging ang focus natin is to be sure alam mo yung shape niya para malaman mo kung ano volume niya. Now, for example yan, medyo iba yung korte niya kasi meron siyang certain part here. We actually call that as support pa or the pedestal part. It is not usually pa ganyan. Minsan, ano yan, rectangular lang. Okay, so an example of your floor plan here wherein you have the walls, the windows, the doors. Okay? So, meron na yan doon sa plan. Kung talagang binuksan nyo yung plans natin, lilitaw rin yung mga ganyang drawings. Okay? So, this is an example of a sunshade. Kumbaga, protruding na concrete. So, ang importante, you know how to read the plans. Ano nga ba yung mga dakilang numbers na yan? Para alam mo kung paano gaano karaming concrete lalagay ko rito. Okay? So, drawings pa rin. So, ang focus natin, kailangan, alam mo nga, yung pinaka-volume. How to determine length, width, times height, di ba? Okay? Yan, puro ganun lang. Bigla natapos yung ano natin. May cement ka na, meron ka ng, inulit lang. So, pati there will be times na syempre, meron tayong stairs, kailangan marunong ka rin. Paano ba nagbubuhos na stairs? Then we have your brick walls, and then of course you deduct this. So, kung titingnan mo meron siyang wall with a total value here, tapos naka-specify ano ang mga doors. So, alamin mo kung ilang doors ang kailangan ilagay. Okay? Madaan tayo. Meron ding ceiling. Di ba? Alam nyo naman, kailangan may ceiling to prevent heat from entering the room o because of the roofing. Roofing kasi, syempre, kung it is made of galvanized iron, that's very hot. So, to cover up or to prevent yung too much heat that will enter the room, you have to place your ceiling, install your ceiling. I'll teach you that kung paano. So, we also have the plastering. Okay. Yan, puro computation na. Okay, then, as you can see, dito naman, naka-item. So, pwedeng ganyan lang yung minsan Earthquake mo, what will be the total quantity? And then, if we are already given the cost of it per quantity, so you will end up with the total cost. Okay? Now, sometimes daw, you need the following. 8% of the total cost may be for electrical works. Kumbaga, this is as, ano ba to? A computation to simplify yung electrification, yung paglagay ng electrical lines mo. Sanitary and water is approximately 8% rin of the total price. So, for example, may price ka na 1M. Yung 1M mo, get 8%, that will be 80,000, 1M. Okay? Then, another 80,000 for your sanitary. So, the total cost will be 1 million plus 80,000 plus 80,000. That will be your estimated cost. Now, take into consideration, bakit word estimated? Estimated kasi it doesn't happen na yung huling pako na ikakabit mo is the exact material na ginamit mo sa site or sa construction. Wala pa yatang incident na na-estimate mo pati number of pieces ng pako. Diba? So, kaya we say estimated, you may probably start with a computation which is lower than the actual construction cost. Kasi baka meron kang na-miss out. There is a possibility naman sa masyado ka nervyoso, naglalagay ka ng additional cost just to make sure na kung meron kang overhead which were not seen previously, meron kang allowance for the total cost para hindi magalaw yung profit mo. Okay? So, we have what is known as the culvert. So, we are not focused on buildings lang. Kailangan aware ka rin sa culvert. Pero, ang secret lang talaga sa estimating is for you to determine the length, the volume, the area, and then you are to convert that with the materials that will be needed to construct a certain or a particular part of your structure. Now, for example, we deal with slab culvert. What is a culvert? Okay, so hindi na mahirap pang ikwento. Tignan nyo na lang sa picture. This is a culvert. Ayan. Paano ginagawa yun? So, meron ka slab doon, pero meron ka ritong supporting structure. So, this one is known as the abutment. Kung tutuusin, pag bridge. Ayan. So, kailangan may ganyan ka. para hindi siya mag-collapse, hindi mag-erode dito. Paano ini-estimate yan? So, may estimate yan pag alam mo yung volume nito at sinabing that will be made of concrete o the volume and then multiply it by the corresponding factor. Ito may ending siya na ang finishing niya will be bricks or kung ano mang bato yung nilagay niya. It may be yung boulders or it may be yung kung tawagin nga natin iskombro. Parang ano ba ito? Adobe. Okay, have you heard of that? There are culverts that are made of RCP pipe, reinforced concrete, tosang kung tawagin. So, kailangan mo lang hukayin yan, install it, and then place your filling materials on top, and then make sure that it is properly compacted. Okay, ayan pa yung ibang example. At ayan pa. Diba? Yeah, kagaya niya, no? O-order ka ng mga materials to be used for supporting the erosion of your soil. So, kasali yan sa construction materials mo. Hindi lang yung nakakita ka. Na-estimate mo yung concrete. How about yung paligid niya? If it is indicated in the plan that you are to support your soil here to prevent erosion, lalagyan mo pa ng mga ganyan. Or we may have a simple culvert here na meron siyang concrete rito which will be part of your road na. Diba? So, parang small bridges. So, pipe culverts, ayan, pipe culvert. So, meron siyang reinforced concrete pipe. Box culvert. Okay? Box culvert. Dito sa ibabaw yung pinaka-road. Ayan, kagaya nito, ito yung pinaka-road. Okay, you may lahat na yata ng itatayo sa ibabaw ng lupa, parang nakadikit sa civil engineering rin or sa construction. Sa build, di ba? So, ito, train rails, di ba? Pero how do you do that? Ayun, kung titignan mo, meron pa siyang beam at the bottom of the railings itself. And then, plus, it will be supported by concrete again para yung tubig can pass through the bottom of your supposed to be railway. Yeah, example pa. Ito may finishing pa. So, that will be considered pag sa actual construction. Okay? So, examples. So, meron naman kayong copy nito kasi that is attached dito sa lecture. So, ito yan. Kung titingnan mo, nagsimula siya sa wing. Ito yung pinaka-wing niya, yung sinasabi ko ring abutment. Okay, so that's the wing. This is your box culvert. So, yan. So, sa top view, ganyan na itsura niya. Then you are given the measurement. Okay, so this one refers naman sa footing. Okay, so footing and columns. And then you are specified, there is a specified number here to designate ano bang bakal na ginamit doon. So you go to the map, 10 mm, which are spaced at 150 mm, center to center. Minsan nakalagay dyan, OC. OC. Ibig sabihin naman nun, on center. Okay? Ibig sabihin, nagsukat ka sa center. Okay? So, example ng drawings pa yan. And then, pag nagko-compute, pwede kang gumawa ng table like this one. So, this is an example of computing your structure. And then, at the end, you are to determine you are to summarize the quantities of the materials. Yan, nag-end up siya ng ganyang materials. Okay? Then, we have your reinforcement. Simple lang yan kung tutuusin. Look at your plans, measure directly from AutoCAD. So, length naman ang kailangan dito, puro length. And syempre, you have to consider rin yung bend kasi baka nakakadagdag yun sa needed na reinforcement mo. So, yun yung example niya on how it was computed. Okay, then, pwede ka may calculation wherein you are to place here the 19 mm. Sa example dito, nilagay niya yung mga bars, the number of pieces needed, the total bars na needed niya for one abutment. So, one muna, hindi para mas na-itemize kung ano na kailangan mo materials na ilabas kasi you are now working on the abutment. If you are already working on the slab itself, ilang materials na naman ang kailangan. Okay, so calculation reinforcement of 4 wing walls, etc. Now, there are sometimes yung estimation of underground water reservoir. When we say reservoir, diba, it means storage for water. Or, malay mo, ang ini-store mo naman, langis, diba? Okay? Now, plan for underground. So, ika nga, kadalasan naman rectangle, diba? So, we have here an example naman, a simply supported slab with column here. Okay? So, ganyan. Yan ang pagkakadetalye niya. Ayan yung sa footing. And then, a summary of your calculation. Then, complete the quantity of materials. Ayan, materials pa rin. Now, ito. We have the retaining wall. So, hindi na masyadong kailangang i-explain part by part. Obviously, you can see there. Saan madalas meron yan? Sa Baguio, tsaka sa mga slope na area. Tagaytay. Okay, so ito yung mga tawag sa kanya. Okay, you may also design a retaining wall like this one. So, example pa ng retaining wall. So, paano ini-estimate yan? Di kunin mo lang yung area nito and then determine gaano kahaba yung wall na lalagyan ko niyan. Kagaya nung nasa ilog or sa dam, di ba? Kung titingnan mo, meron siyang mga structure na ganyan. So, typical naman yung pinaka cross-section niya, yung length na lang ang isang concern. Okay? Ayan. Kung ganyan naman ang design niya, area pa rin. And then the total length. Okay, so just to give you ano yung kanyang mga parts. So you have the backfill. Siyempre, pag nailagay mo na yan, maglalagay ng backfill. Tapos ito yung arm niya, may toe siya, may heel siya, may key siya. So that it will not, umikot. So, may control siya rito. Pag nadagdagan mo to ng backfill means ibabalik mo yung soil pagkatapos mo i-construct yan. So, madadaganan tong heel, madadaganan din yung toe. So, makokontrol na yung pag-ikot niya. Okay? So, example. So, probably, you can see there, may mga bakal siya. What do you do? Bilangin mo yung bakal. O, pag binilang mo yung bakal na yan, gaano kahaba ngayon yung lalagyan mo ng wall. With that, malalaman mo gaano karaming bakal. Sa ilalim, you have this. Okay? So, you look into that. Then, you go to the septic tank. Pero, itutuloy na lang natin yung part na yan. Punta muna tayo doon sa drawing natin. Okay? So, you are given here, di ba? Shinare ko sa inyo to. So, sabi ko sa inyo, pag-aralan ninyo. Anyway, i-guide ko na rin kayo. You are given here your footings. Itong plan na to, colored type na, lahat ng magenta is F1. F1, F1. Okay? Yung kulay green is F2. Ayan, nakalagay F2 with column C2. F2 with column C2. Ito, this is F3, the blue one, with column 3. Ayan, so, pag sinabi natin, bibilangin natin yung ilan ng footing 1. Footing 1 will be magenta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ilan ang footing 3? 1, 2. Ilan ang footing 2? So, bakit footing 1, footing 2, footing 3 siya? Siyempre, i-label mo na yung pare-pareho ng dimensions. Kung i-consider mo isa as F1, dapat pare-pareho yung dimension ni F1. Okay, so meron dito, kung titingnan nyo yung dimensions na naka-attach dito. Ayan. Plus, a simple drawing to show you yung bakal. Okay? So ito, bali nangyari rito. Inano ko lang to. Kasi hindi nakalagay itong bakal na to eh. So actually, ginawa ko dyan. Pinakita ko lang doon sa class last time na yung pinaka-bakal mo dyan, syempre, we have your bars along this direction, and how many are given. Sabi dito, punta ka sa table, if that is footing 1, for example, footing 1, you have 9 16mm diameter bars. So, dinemo ko lang yan na yung bakal nila 9 pieces. So, bali, parang lalabas, naka-install. Pag ganyan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? So, sunod-sunod yun. Tapos, along the other direction, pa ganun din. Puro naman patayo. Okay? So, kung tutuusin mo, if you copy that, lalabas ganyan yung mga bakal mo sunod-sunod. Now, actually yan, meron yung bend. Supposed to be, ayan o. Ayan yung bend niya. Try na natin yan. Okay, bend. Now, pag nagde-determine ngayon ng bakal para sa footing, yung bend niya, instead of, minsan, pag hindi na mini-measure, yung sa inyo, you can simply use 1,500. Hindi mo na puputulin. Computing mo na siya as 1,500. That will be the length of the bar na ilalagay mo ngayon. You can also religiously determine that. Pero, ang tiniteach ko na lang sa inyo, kung kukunin mo yung dimension, simple lang, di ba? What is the dimension of this one? Okay? So, ko nga to. So, for example, ito. Mirror ko. Itong bed na to, kung imi-mirror natin yan, tapos imumove ko to. So, lumalabas yung bakal mo, ito. Tapos, kaya nga naka-drawing na sa AutoCAD para dali buhay ninyo, swerte ninyo. Okay. Ano yung measurement ngayon ng bakal mo? Start with measuring this one. Measure this. So, ano measurement niya? Laki ng measurement ko 23. Siya ba yun? 23 mm. Okay. And then, what is the measurement of the arc? Arc length. Sabi niya. Laki kasi ng dimension natin. The arc length is 49. Diba? Okay. Itan ko nga yung font nito. Hundred. Yan. Ito na lang muna. Isang 49. Isang 23. So, ibig sabihin, the other side is also 23 and 49 plus the total length of this one from here to here. 1398. Okay, 1398. Kita nga natin sila. Ang lalaki nila eh. Nakalak yung iba. 1.5 and 1398. Okay, so ano total length ng isang bar mo? It is 1398 plus 49 plus 23 plus another 49 plus 23. So, let's solve. 23 plus 49 is equal to times 2 plus 1398. Okay, so approximately you have 1542. Okay? So, bali lumabas, nung na-solve yun, kunyari, na-solve mo na, naglagay ako ng tabulation. Okay, so, ito. Take into consideration yung footing mo. Ano ba yung footing mo? Kapag sa footing 1, we have here your concrete volume. Ang dimensions niya is 1.5 by 1.5 times the thickness is 0.35. Or that is 0.7875 for one footing. However, there are 5 footings of the same dimensions. So, you have to multiply 7875 by 5 to get the total volume for footing 1 alone. So, yung footing 2 has the dimensions. So, makikita mo sa table na to. Footing 2 has the dimensions 1.4 times 1.4 times the thickness is 350. Okay, so 1.4 times 1.4 times 0.35 times is equal to 0.686. And how many footing 2 are there? There are 6. So you multiply it by 6, total concrete volume is 4.116. Tapos meron na kayong table to use that. So you will be using class A for footings. Now, sa reinforcement, medyo sa akin hindi na namin ginawa last time to. You just consider, as I have explained, pwedeng i-consider mo na lang the total dimension which is 1.5. So there will be 9 pieces, nakalagay dito, 9 pieces both ways. So, paano na-compute ngayon yun? 9 pieces with a length of 1.5 both ways. Kaya multiply by 2, you have 27. Now, how many bars are there? Ay, total length of the bars. Kung meron kang 5 footings, you multiply 27 meters by 5 footings. So, you get 135. Okay, so, mali pa pala ito, no? This should be, edit natin to. Hindi mo edit. Okay. Instead of 150, it should be 135. Okay. 135 divided by 6, you have 22.5 or 23. However, meron akong kinonsider dyan eh. What if you are to consider ito? What if you are to consider your bar? Ito. For example, ito yung bar natin na 6 meter. 6 meter. Tapos ngayon, you are to cut 1.5 each. Ito. Kunyari, meron kang 1.5 na cut. Yan, say 1.5. How many pieces of 1.5 can you cut from a 6-meter bar? You can cut 4 pieces, di ba? Okay, 4 pieces. So, isang paraan din kung parang malaman mo kung tama yung number of bars mo is that, sabi nga 27 meters to times 5 is 135. Ngayon, meron kang how many bars ang kailangan mo? You have 9. Kung titingnan mo ilang bars meron sa Ilang bars meron sa isang footing? Meron kang 9 isang way times 2. So, 18 bars na tigbo 1.5. Diba? 1.5. Tama? Tama ba ako? 9 times 2, 18 times 5 pala. Times 5. So, compute it Talang. Nakopya ko lahat. Kopya ko lahat. Copy. Ayun yung nasasama siya lahat. Okay, dito na lang ako. Okay, so for example, meron akong ilang bars meron dun sa footing 1. Sa footing 1, I have 9 bars. 9 bars. Multiply by 2 kasi both ways. So, what do I get? 18 pieces. Pieces at 1.5 meter each. Diba? Okay. Now, kung meron akong 5 columns, 18 pieces at 1.5 each meter. Diba? 4. Tapos with 5 footings, ang magiging value niya will be 18 times 5. So, I'll be needing 90 pieces at 1.5 meter each. Diba? Each. Now, yung pinakita ko kanina sa inyo, meron kang 4 na bakal. Ito may 4 kang bakal na makukuha mo for a 6-meter length na o-orderin mo isang bakal. Diba? So, ibig sabihin, yung 90, okay? Yung 90 pieces, i-divide ko siya ng 4 pieces per 6-meter commercially available bar. And that will give me 90 divided by 4, 22.5. Siyempre, hindi ka rin 22 pieces of 6 meter bar. So, ibig sabihin, 22.5. Or, gagawin mo na siyang 23 pieces. Pieces na anong bakal gagamitin mo? 16 millimeter diameter by 6 meter in length. Yan ang pinaka mag-o-order ka. Yan ang order mo. Okay? You got the point? Okay. Now, paano kung ang nangyari, ang dimension niya is 144, 144, 1440, di ba? Just like yung, hindi pala ito, 144. Naggawa ko na ibang example. Ito ba? Okay. For example, ang gamitin natin is 144. Hindi. Kasi, ano kayo yun? Masosolve ko na yung ano nyo gagawin Now, what if ang dimension ng bakal na kailangan mo is 144? Diba? Paano kung ang o-orderin mo pa rin? Okay? I'll copy this. Copy it here. Okay, 144. So, paano kung ang bakal mo 1.4? 1.4. Meron ka 9 bars, 2-way siya, 18 pieces din, 1.4 each. So, 18 pieces at 1.4, kung 5 footing siya, how many pieces do I need? I still need 190 pieces ng bakal ko with a dimension equal to 1.4. 1.440 pala yung nasa example natin. 1.440 for 5 footings. Diba? So, i-analyze mo ngayon yung 6 meter bar mo. Okay? Yung 6 meter bar mo, makakakuha ng 4 na 144T, tapos may sobra siyang 220. Magagamit mo pa ba yung 220? Actually, hindi na. So, meaning, you will be ordering rin 90 pieces divided by 4 na 6 millimeter bar, and you will still be needing 22.5 na 6 meter bar. Pero, you take note, lagi kang may sobra na 240 mm per bar. Okay? Kaya minsan, kailangan alam mo kung paano cutting nun. Kasi may isang simpleng pagkukumpit niyan. Pwedeng ang gawin mo, ganito lang. Pwedeng gawin mo, ganito lang Mabilisan. Sasabihin mo, 9 bars, 1440 meters multiplied by 9 pieces multiplied by 2 ways, then multiplied by 5 footings. What do you get? Actually, you will be getting na the total length of the bars. So, 1440 times 9 times 2 times 5. I will get, nagkagulo yata ako, 144, sorry, it's 1.4, 1.4, I forgot, 1.44 times 9 times 2 times 5. The total value that you will get is 129.60 meters. Okay, tapos na. Ano o-orderin ko? Pag inisip mo yung orderin, ganito lang gagawin mo. 129.60, diba, meter, divided by 6 meter, yung commercially available size niya, diba, divided by 6 is equal to, ang makukuha kong value is 21.6 pieces. Okay? So, tignan mo yung naging diferensya. Yung 21.6 pieces, hindi kinonsider yung waste na 240 mm. Kaya rekta-rekta lang, na parang lumalabas, pakikinabangan mo pa yung maliit na kaprasong to. Kaya lalabas yung order mo, pag kinat mo na yung bakal mo, yung 21 pieces, sasabihin mo pa, order ako ng 22 pieces na 16 mm diameter, galing mo pa, no? Diameter bars by 6 meter. Galing mo. Pero sa totoo lang, kulang. Kasi pag kinonsider mo kung paano siya kinakat, kakapusin yung 22 pieces mo. You get my point? So, yun yung kahalagahan ng alam mo kung ano yung dapat maging cutting ng bakal mo. So that you will be able to consider din yung waste na actually can no longer be used for the footing, yung 240. Okay, nagets nyo yung point ko? So ito, example din. What if ang cut mo is always 1.3, 1.3. Meron ka ring waste na 800 which cannot be used. Itatabi mo na lang yan for other purposes. Pwedeng ilagay mo sa mga lintels mo, additional support for reinforcement, etc. So, yun yung mangyayari sa bakal mo. Okay? So, bali, itong table na to, pinakita rin yung sa mga footings. Ay, columns pala. Sorry, columns. Ayan, yung column natin. So, yung column natin, meron tayo ditong column and beams. Where by column? Where is the column? B1, B2, cantilever, and then the column. I cannot find the column. Ito pala yung column natin. Okay, for example, yan yung column natin. Alam ko may detail pa to ng column. Hindi ko lang makita. Wait lang ah. Let's see. Ito. Okay, say you are given your column C1, C2. Pag kinonsider mo yung column 1 mo, dimensions niya is 150 by 500 multiplied by the total height na lang. It will have 16 mm bars. So, ganun rin yung mangyayari. If you are given a height of 6 meters, you have 16 mm diameter bars. Kaya lang, meron tayo ditong drawing wherein it shows you ano ba nangyayari sa bakal natin pag sa footings. Okay. So, say meron akong height na 1.2 lang yung footing ko. Ay, column ko. Pero look at the dimensions. Yung bakal mo. Yung bakal mo, ganyan. Tapos, there is a bend there. So, what do you do? Gagawin mo dyan, you measure lang the total length of the bars. So, if I will give you a height of 1.1 lang, you are given here that is for your finish floor line. Kung lalagyan ko to na ang ground floor ko up to the second floor beam will be equal to 3 meters. Diba? 3 meters. So, lalabas 3 meters plus 120 plus yung dimensions dito. You are to determine pa yung dimension from this one to this one. I-add mo pa yon. And then, you still need to add yung pinaka naging bend para kumapit siya so that is 80. Dito ko nga yung dimension. 80 to 50. Nakalaki iba. Bakit ka ba nakalaki? Who are you? Dimensions. I will teka lang. Dimension. Kulit Anak natin. Okay. So, pag kinonsider mo to, nakakabaliw ang laki ng dimensions. Okay? So, kung ano yung makita mo sa drawing, kailangan i-verify mo yung mga yun. Meron tayo dito isang simple na nakalagay dyan that your column here is from penthouse to the RB level. So, with a height of 3 meters. Naka-specify na lang Second floor hanggang penthouse will be 3.2. Okay? Then we have 3.3 for ground floor to second level. And then foundation to ground level. San kinukuha yun? Lumalabas? If you have here your ground level, yung column mo will have another height. Yung height niya, mula raw kasi dyan hanggang a certain distance, yung length nito, this will be for your second floor level, di ba? After ng second floor level, you have a level hanggang roof beam. And then, you will have another level from roof beam up to penthouse sa taas. So, imagine, kung given ka ng 3.2, and 3.3 meters na column from ground to penthouse top, ano total length ng column mo? Ang total length niya will be yung length nito, yung height nito, plus yung width nitong bend niya, plus, you don't forget the 120 value, and then plus the height here, plus the height here, plus the height here. Okay? Pero, syempre, i-consider mo dyan. Paano yan pag naputol? Say, meron kang bakal na 6 meter ang height niya, ang length ng isang bakal. Will that be enough na ganyan na lang yung bakal mo tapos idudugtong mo ba siya ng ganito? Say, may bakal ka pang binili na isa pa. Okay? Pwede bang yung next 6 meter ipapatong mo lang na ganyan? I-consider mo na ano ba yan, naka-welding ba? Diba? So, iba yung kapag ito, 6 meter, kailangan mo ng ganyan kahabang bakal. What do you do with this? Itong part na to. Yung part na yan, as much as possible, magkaka-splice ka. So, what does splice means? Splice mean, ang bakal mo magiging pa ganyan. So, kung may dugtong ka, maglagay ka rin ng dugtong na ganire. Hindi ko siya na... Teka lang. move. Okay, so if I will make a splice equal to 400 mm, ayan, 400 mm, ibig sabihin, ang effective dimension na lang ng isang bakal ko will be nabawasan, di ba? 5, 6 na lang. Tapos, yung dimension ko ng isa will remain as 600. So, therefore, dahil may dugtong, the total effective length lang for 2 bars na pinagdugtong mo ng diretso lang na ganyan will only be equal to 11.6. Then you verify kung kasya dun sa kabuuan ng total height nyo. And then, kung sakali na may sobra, kadalasan you may cut, pero kung konti lang yung nagiging cut ang ginagawa, tutupi na lang. Okay? So, dito, I want you to work on this. Alamin nyo yung quantity nung para kay footing 3, footing 4, tapos yung mga columns, and then you are to determine the area ng CHB wall. Asan yung area ng CHB wall? Ginawa ko na to. Yung area na so that will be your total length of the wall na lalagyan ng CHB. Ano natin imamine yung pinaka-katin natin mga doors and windows yung iba. Okay? Quiz. And tomorrow we'll have quiz. So ito yung gusto kong mabuo ninyo. So yung reinforcement mo sa column, so parang ano lang, determining the number of bars. So kung ang total length niya, kagaya raw nitong column foundation to finish floor line, 10 bars ang gagamitin na ang height is 1.4 and there will be 13 na column 1, which is from the first floor, from foundation to first floor, 13. So, minultiply ng 187.2 meters and then divide it by 6 meters, 33 pieces ang kailangan. So, this will be your work to check on column 2. Diba? Hanapin nyo yung si column 2. So, siguro naman medyo na simulan nyo na. And then for your CHB wall, hindi ko ma-edit to. Okay, so for your CHB wall, ito we have penthouse, second floor. Ayan, second floor framing, then penthouse floor framing. So, pakialam na lang, basta kunin nyo na lang yung total length ng yellow na to. Total length, diba? And then, kapag ba penthouse floor framing, tama. Floor framing, kaya nakalagay ganon. Yung yellow na yan actually represent yung pinaka-beam mo. Tapos, bali kinonsider ko na lang na lahat ng beam na yan may CHB wall. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung penthouse natin, 3 meters ang i-consider mong height. Pagdating doon sa pangalawa, this will be second floor hanggang dun sa, eto yon. Ang gagamitin mo, second floor to penthouse floor level. Gagamitin mo is 1.2 meters. Ay, 3.2 meters. So, ibig sabihin, yung CHB mo, so hindi na siya magiging isang 100 at 150. Ay, i-consider natin yung sa penthouse will be 100 millimeter thick. Tapos, yung CHB for your second floor to your penthouse flooring will be 100 mm. Okay? So, paano nakukuha yung area? Area will just be equal to the total length. O, pakitandaan na lang ha. Total length. Pag nakuha mo yung total length, ang next mo is to multiply by the height of the wall. So, you are given a 3 meter height ng wall. Tama ba ako? Yung isa 3.2, yung isa 3. Okay, yung mas nasa taas is 3 meters. Yung nasa baba is 3.2. Okay? So, then, you solve for the area. Kailangan, gusto ko makita yung area. And then, ganun lang muna ang gagawin ninyo. Okay? Everything will be submitted in, you place yung table na to. This is an example lang ng, actually hindi example. This one serves as your computation. Now, kung Excel ang pagagamit ko sa inyo, Excel, pwede kang magaganito lang, di ba? Okay. One column will give you the width, then the length, and then the thickness, and then the volume will be equal to width, length, times thickness. So, sa Excel, magiging automatic lang yan. So, pwede nyo chap-chapin yung volume niya ng ganyan. Ito for ano lang to, for lecture purposes. Pwede nyo rin ipakita yan para meron kayong guide kung paano mo nakuha yung value. And then, pwede rin naman naka-automatic ka rito na minultiply mo using yung Excel kasi. Okay? Siguro, the rest of the day, you work on your table. Ito, you work on this table. May I remind you, sa Excel nyo ilalagay ito. Okay? So that will be our lecture for now. Thank you.